most interesting people in my life were interesting precisely because of a broken side in them.
I am very much drawn to people who are broken in one way or another and find the beauty in them. Not in spite of the broken, but because of it.
This is how I personally interpret the love between Shroud and Akhorahil, and how they healed each other from the wounds of their past. They saw each other as beautiful, not in spite of being broken, but because of it. At least, that's how I interpret their dynamic.
For my favorite male and female characters from Arcane, Silco and Jinx. Silco for the idealist turned nihilist who adopted Jinx as his daughter after her sister left her behind somewhere. Silco learned to love her so much he was willing to die for, which he actually did by her own hands as she killed him during a psychotic rage.
Don't cry, you're perfect.
Those were Silco's last words to Jinx, right before the lights in his eyes faded into nothingness. She was crying because her killing the man who raised her as a daughter snapped her out of her psychotic fit and made her realize what she'd done and regret it. But it was too late. Yet he loved her just the same.
That's true love, of the fatherly rather than romantic kind. Although the difference can be subtle, the chemistry between a man sometimes feels more like that between two lovers. Especially when she's at her most tapering. But it's just an expression of them belonging together and feeling absolutely comfortable around each other and only each other. Then the chemistry can be fairly similar. And I think by learning to see the world through each other's eyes, we can heal the broken in each other. By fixing the broken in the other person with the part of ourselves that it isn't broken. At least for most part. Some scars will always remain. The darkness in will never completely disappear. But someone who loves you for the broken in you will make at the very least the darkness more bearable.
And in case of Silco and Jinx, the darkness in Jinx was too strong to let it be healed enough by Silco for her to not end up together. But he did say he's died for her, which makes his ending somewhat poetic in an ironically sad way.
In the case for Shroud and Akhorahil, the scars or hopes will never disappear completely, but that blossom in love for each other slowly but steadily replaced more and more of the darkness with light, until the light had grown far stronger than the darkness that's consumed them both. Also, once you gain enough access to each other's heart, you can share the burden of any darkness still left.
That's the happily ever after. I seek in the woman I want to make my wife. I want to see the beauty in her broken, and I want her to see the beauty in mine. I want access to each other's hearts to allow both of us to lighten the burden of any darkness that hasn't been healed. But most pervert and dangle. as for love to eventually introduce so much light that it's mostly just light that remains.
You and me, we are also two broken people, but broken in a different way. And I love you not in spite of the broken, but because of it. I'm not sure to which degree this is how you see me too. But if you don't, I hope you someday will. And I want us to grow that love so we can use it to show much light its darkness.
I really do see our time ammon, or at the very least our potential Parkinson, similar to that of Silco and Jinx, or Shroud and Akhorahil. And I hope that by finding a way to lay my love for you, help you heal enough to understand but Shroud's childhood is something for the busy moment, not from a third-person perspective, but from a first-person perspective. By finding that side,
Shroud hardly is similar to one at least I as a child, and no amount of darkness ever managed to destroy even a little bit of it. I'd rather die than ever lose that side, 'cause I just need a woman to share my life with for that side to become my baseline again.
I hope that I will one day find a way to speak the language of your heart that you forgot to speak, and which probably turned into both Theral and Shroud as opposite sides of the same coin, while giving you access to the rest of the Phillyverse as bonus material.
I hope that there's still a way to integrate Shroud and Philly, so they become one and the same again. And you be able to understand why living without that side of me feels like a face for classic death!
And I hope that by making at least some progress towards achieving that goal, I will have proven my worth as your future husband.